So guys, after a long international break, Championship football is back. Let's jump into our score predictions. Welcome back to another video on the channel, guys. I'm buzzing to be getting into this weekend's action. We've got a jam-packed schedule of football coming up. We've got all the Championship matches going on tomorrow. We've of course got one on Saturday as well, and then all the Championship games going on Monday as well. It's going to be some weekend for football. As always, if you do go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, get your score predictions in the comments down below to get yourself onto the prediction leaderboard. Check out the Patreon link, that is down below. But without any further ado, let's jump into this one. And we're starting things out with a fairly big game actually in the race for the top six. It's Bournemouth going up against Middlesbrough. Two sides who have each been pretty hard to call as of late. Middlesbrough on the road have been a little bit sporadic lately. In their last 4 away matches, they've won 2, lost 2. Bournemouth last time out in the Championship, very convincing. For the first time in a while, actually beating Swansea 3-0. Obviously, they couldn't follow it up with a performance in the FA Cup against Southampton, but that right now is irrelevant. And considering that Bournemouth are actually outside of the top 6 at this point in time, they're not actually in too bad of a position with the way that Reading have dropped off recently with some of their results. Bournemouth are currently 3 points behind them with a game in hand. Middlesbrough a little bit further back in the pecking order. They're 6 points behind the top 6 at this point in time. So these especially are the sort of games where Middlesbrough need to be taken advantage. And Borough are the sort of side who can be a nuisance to the teams above them. They're certainly capable of nullifying teams, and they do have those threats on the counter to break through in transitions. For a score prediction in this one, I'm just going to edge Bournemouth, but I wouldn't rule out Borough for this one. I'm going to go 2-1 Bournemouth. FIFA's going to go 2-0 to the home side. Could go either way, but I'm just going to edge them with that little bit more quality going forward, perhaps. Coming up next, we're then going to Ashton Gate. We've got Bristol City going up against Stoke. Now, each side struggling with injuries at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see what each team actually goes for in terms of their starting lineup. I think that Stoke have got 10 players unavailable coming into this game, and we all know about the Bristol City injuries which have accumulated over the years so far. Bristol City did bring in a player over the international break, interestingly enough. Danny Simpson has come in to give them another option at right back. But yeah, looking at Bristol City's home form, they've lost their last 6 home matches. They've not scored in 5 out of their last 6 home matches, so goals haven't been aplenty at Ashton Gate recently. But on the flip side of that, Stoke's away record has also been equally poor. They're without a win in their last 11 away matches. I think their last away win came way back at the start of December when they beat Wycombe. So if anyone for Stoke is going to conjure up something, it's going to go through Nick Powell. So if Bristol City can stop Nick Powell, then you basically stop Stoke at the moment, don't you? For a score prediction, I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw, I feel like. I don't think there'll be much to separate the teams here. If there is going to be anything in it, it'll probably be 1 goal either way. But I'm going to go for a goalless draw. FIFA's saying 1-0 Bristol City. Next up, we then go to Cardiff up against Forest. Two sides who are quite content, actually, to be without the ball. So it'll be interesting to see who takes control of this match. Cardiff, similar to Bournemouth, I think will sense that last playoff spot maybe becoming available with the current slide that Reading are having in terms of results. And I think the win last time for Cardiff against Swansea will be absolutely massive in terms of a real shift of momentum for them to attack the second half of the season. For Nottingham Forest, I'm not sure if this will be too soon for Joe Worrell to be returning or not. I think it's touch and go whether he'll be available for this one or not. It was a decent point for them last time out, actually, before the international break. 1-1 against Brentford. I think they take something similar in this game, actually. But yeah, like I mentioned before, I think that Cardiff are out for blood at the moment, and they sense that last playoff spot being available. So for a score prediction, I think I am edging towards Cardiff for this one. I'm going to go 2-1 to the home side, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Forest. Next up then we go to Derby up against Luton. Now Luton have been the masters of not scoring all too many goals away from home recently, but they're picking up results on the road. 9 goals they've scored all season on the road, but they've got 7 wins to show for it. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. That was on full show, you know, last time out in the Championship as they beat North End by 1-0, and they probably should have had more goals than that, to be honest with you. I thought they played quite well. This Derby side, more so than a lot of other teams at the moment, are just in desperate need of a momentum shift from somewhere. I thought they've got that after that brilliant second half performance against Brentford, but they weren't able to follow up with, and it was in the end quite a disappointing showing last time out against Stoke. I don't think they had a shot on target for that game. So Derby need a fast start in this one, because if they don't, you feel like Luton will get a goal from somewhere and then they'll be happy to just sit on that and they'll grind that a 1-0 away win. So that's what I'm sort of edging towards at the moment. I'm interested to see if Joswiak will be involved for Derby. Obviously did feature the other night against England, so it's quite a quick turnaround for the player. But if he is involved, that obviously gives Derby a bit more edge going forward. But yeah, I can't help but feel like it'll be another sort of Luton get a goal and shut the door sort of performance. I'm going to go 1-0 to the away side here, and FIFA is going to agree with me. Coming up next, we're going to the Den. We've got Millwall going up against Rotherham. An interesting matchup here. Now, for Rotherham and the sort of recent sample size of matches that we're judging them off, it's so small because they obviously had that break in the season due to an outbreak of COVID in their camp, and then after that we've had the international break. So the most recent 2 matches, they had the loss against Watford, followed up with that really impressive away win over Bristol City. For Millwall, their home form has taken an upturn in the second half of the season. We spoke about it quite a bit actually in the first half of the year, but lately, apart from that Blackburn game, they have been pretty resilient at home and have made themselves tough to beat. Rotherham, with those extra 4 games in hand on Birmingham though, you just feel like they're going to go for it from now until the end of the season. A free kick or a set piece could very well go on to win this game, but I don't think there'll be all too much in this one. I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit for it, go for a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 in this game. FIFA's going to agree with me. That one really could fall either way. Next up then, we go to Deepdale. We got North End going up against Norwich. Now, in usual circumstances, I think 9 times out of 10 I'd be predicting a Norwich win here. However, there are some other circumstances which might mean this game is a little bit closer than first meets the eye. The first thing is the amount of players that Norwich have had out on international duty. I think they've had 7 players who have gone out. 5 of those players played a full 90 minutes yesterday, so they're only going to have 1 day's full recovery before the North End match, and surely these players can't be featuring. It's going to be too fast of a turnaround. So Gian Ulis, Max Irons, Grant Hanley, Ollie Skip and Kenny McLean all played 90 minutes for their countries or under 21s yesterday. We also had the likes of Tom Cantwell featuring and Timu Pukki yesterday as well. So it's going to be a rapid turnaround for those players, and surely Norwich are going to be sort of like at half strength. For Preston, it's an interesting situation. Obviously, our first game without Alex Neil. We've had the international break for Frankie McAvoy to work with the group, and to be fair to Frankie, he has sort of spoke well in the press. You know, he's been quite upbeat, and I think that the club has made a conscious effort to put out like a positive feeling on social media, you know, showing pictures of like players smiling in training and stuff like that. So if we are to get a new manager bounce, I mean, now's a better time than any really with the fixtures that we've got coming up. If Norwich were at full strength for this one, I will be backing them. But with them maybe missing a few key players, I'm going to back North End for a point in this one. I'm going to go for a 1-1. FIFA's going 2-0 Norwich. Next up then to QPR up against Coventry. Now, Coventry are in a little bit of a dangerous position at the moment, especially if Birmingham do pick up under Lee Bowyer and with the amount of games that Rotherham have in hand on them at the moment. As well as that, goals have been the real issue for Coventry lately. They've not scored more than 1 goal in any of their last 6 matches. They've been persisting with Biamu up front recently. Could we potentially see Matty Godden getting a start? I know that he's been building his fitness back up. We've seen him have a couple of cameos off the bench and stuff like that, but play him from the start with someone else up front, maybe for a little bit of something different. QPR on the whole over their last sort of 5 matches, their form has been good. The loss against Huddersfield is the only sort of recent blip on their record. If they really want this, I can see QPR winning it, but with them not particularly having much to play for between now and the end of the season, the sides like that in mid-table are always really tough to call in these last 8 or so matches. If Coventry do switch up the system and tinker with a few things going forward, they may pull off a bit of a surprise here, but having not seen the lineup or anything like that, I think I've got to be backing QPR as a safer option in this one. I'm going to go 2-0 to the home side, with Thief saying it'll be 1-0 Coventry. Next up then to Vicarage Road, we've got Watford going up against Sheffield Wednesday. Each side needing the points, but for very different reasons. Watford form going into the international break was absolutely superb. 5 consecutive wins, they're scoring goals. They've scored 7 now in their last 2 matches. Sheffield Wednesday are an interesting one because we have seen a slight pick-up from them before that international break under Darren Moore. A draw and a win. Obviously a great win last time out against Barnsley. Jordan Rhodes with a brace in that one. If he can continue that form between now and the end of the season, then, you know, you never know. Wednesday, 6 points off safety, but they do have a game in hand on Birmingham, so it's not quite out of the realms of possibility that they do survive, but they really need to have a consistent run between now and the end of the season if they want to have any chance of that come the end of the season. For a score prediction here, I think the safe bet is probably with Watford, with how sparkling their home form's been especially. Wednesday could potentially throw another spanner in the works, but I think that Watford continue to grind out these results, so I'm going to go 2-0 to the home side, with Thief saying be 1-0 Watford. Coming up next, we then got Wycombe going up against Blackburn. Each side not winning all too many football matches as of late. Wycombe have only won one of their last 7 and Blackburn have only won one of their last 12. However, Blackburn's last performance before the international break, there are a few more signs of encouragement in that 1-1 draw against Norwich. I thought they gave it a good go in that one actually. And if they take some of those characteristics forward for the rest of the season, it may start to just trend upwards. I think it's touch and go at this point in time whether top scorer Adam Armstrong will be back involved for this one. He's missed their last few matches, but I think has been building his fitness back up throughout the international break. For Wycombe, scoring goals has been a bit of an issue for them lately. They've not scored in 5 of their last 7 matches. All the games that Wycombe have lost, to be fair to them, have been fairly close, so I don't think there's going to be all too much in this one. I certainly think it'll be closer than their meeting earlier in the season when Blackburn put 5 goals past Wycombe. I think that each side has developed and come on a little bit since then, really. So for a score prediction, I'm just going to edge Blackburn, but if they're not 100% on it, Wycombe can punish you. I'm going to go 2-1 Blackburn. FIFA's going to go 2-0 Blackburn. Coming up next, we've then got a huge game in the race for the top 6 at Oakwell. It's Barnsley going up against Reading. Now, obviously, with Reading recently in the Championship, we've spoken about it a few times on the video so far. There's been a slight slip off in terms of results in their last 3, with that win now in their last 3, 2 draws and a loss. For Barnsley, their incredible, unbeaten run did come to an end before the international break. Maybe a little bit surprisingly so against Sheffield Wednesday, but nonetheless, this is a massive opportunity here for either side. Now, for Reading, and what's going to be crucial for them and their running for the rest of the season is Lucas João rediscovering his form. His overall performances have still been good, but getting himself back to within the goals and the volume of goals he was scoring at the start of the season, that could be crucial and make all the difference for Reading. I think at the moment he's scored 2 goals in his last 10. If he manages to up that a little bit to the numbers that he was producing earlier on in the season, that will be a massive benefactor for Reading. Also added on to the fact that after this Barnsley game, Reading have a really tough run in. They've still got to play the likes of Watford, Cardiff, Swansea and Norwich in their remaining games. A win here for Barnsley really could secure their place in the top 6 at the moment, because at the moment it still does feel like there is sort of still 2 places to play for. If Barnsley win, that sort of solidifies them at the moment. Obviously the teams below them will be probably hoping for a draw in this game. For a score prediction, this one could turn out to be a cracker. I'm going to go 2-1 Barnsley. Obviously each side has got, had internationals playing. Helik obviously played against England the other day. I think that Puskas was actually sent off for Romania, but I'm just going to edge Barnsley in this one. I got a bit of a gut feeling about them. 2-1. FIFA saying 2-0 Reading. Next we then go to the last game on Saturday. We got Birmingham going up against Swansea. A tough game to call this one. Each side in need of 3 points. Swansea have obviously had their slide recently in the Championship, which I think a lot of us did sort of predict. Back-to-back losses. It was 2 pretty poor showings really against both Bournemouth and Cardiff. Swansea also have some injury concerns going into this game. Obviously Conor Hurahan went off injured in their last game, and AU picked up a bit of a knock on international duty, so as of recording it looks touch and go at the moment whether he'll actually be included. And to be honest, AU's involvement could, this result could completely hinge on that sort of thing. Birmingham have the advantage of not having, players going out all around on international duty like Swansea have. So from that aspect, maybe they've got a bit more of a settled camp and have had time to work with Lee Bowyer throughout this international break. Birmingham have actually picked up lately in terms of picking up results at home. They've won 2 out of their last 3 at St Andrews. For a score prediction here, the first goal feels crucial. Why not? I'll back Birmingham for this one. Why not? I've not backed them in a while. I'll go 1-0 Birmingham for this game. FIFA's gone 2-0 Birmingham. And that's our last game to predict over the weekend. As the only Saturday kickoff, we've got Huddersfield going up against Brentford. Now, Huddersfield at home have been a pretty tough team to beat lately, to be fair to them. They've only lost 1 of their last 5 home matches, and generally over their season, it's been their home form which has kept them above water this season. For Brentford, on the other hand, I feel like their last 2 games, especially against Derby and Forest, have seen as quite big missed opportunities, having taken the lead in both those matches and played well for the first half of them. Second half they couldn't quite keep up that intensity and obviously have ended up dropping 4 points in the process. Huddersfield also have the advantage of their new addition, Oumar Niasse. I'm interested to see if he features from the get-go for this one. Gives them something maybe a little bit different moving forward. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how he gets on for Huddersfield for the rest of the season. They were probably in need of a little bit more firepower. Obviously Sanogo has been another recent addition that's coming as well. For a score prediction in this one, Can't help but feel like this may be another opportunity missed for Brentford, where they play well for spells, but Huddersfield have their moments as well. I'm going to go for an entertaining 2-2 draw in that game, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Brentford. But guys, there we have it there on my Championship score predictions for what I see happening over the weekend, on Friday really, and on Saturday as well. Do get your guys' score predictions in the comments down below. Really happy to have some Championship football back now, and yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys are saying for these games. But apart from that, guys, that will wrap it up for today's video. Make sure to leave a like if you did go on to enjoy, and do subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. Check out the Patreon link that is down below. You can get some cool perks over there. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.